So I was wondering if they're going to include an intro for this season or not. Turns out they did, with an 80s theme song from Perfect Strangers, which I never watched. But I really loved last season's intro, which they had in this episode, but with a different song. Last season they had it with Let the Mysteries Be song, which I really thought fit the show well. But this was a really cool intro. And with that, let's get into the episode. Don't be ridiculous. Let's get into the recap / review. So we open this week with the Pillar Man, but before we get into his story this episode, let's get some clarity on who this character is. So I think the first time we saw him was last season. He lives in Miracle in the middle of the town on top of this pillar, and we see Michael giving him food at one point. But then we see him in a scene later in that season with Kevin. Patty is still trying to convince Kevin that she's real at this point. And then Kevin looks over and Pillar Man says, "Hey, who are you talking to?" So we know Pillar Man can see Patty, and who else can he see? He has this ability to see the dead people, and yeah, that makes him a little bit special. So at the start of this episode, we see him walk off the pillar and have a heart attack and fall to his death. And Nora is conducting an interview with his wife, doing the questionnaire to see what happened to him, and his wife thinks that he departed.
You saw him depart?
Yes, ma'am. He looked so calm and at peace.
Now, while this was happening, I knew in my mind that she looked familiar, but I couldn't picture from where. But then I realized that she's from season 2, and her name is Sandy, and she's in that like compound, like campsite right outside of Miracle. And it's when Matt and Mary are stuck there because they got their wristbands stolen. They go to her for money so they can find a way out of there and back into the town. And she wants Matt to whack that guy in the back with that paddle. Anyway, that's where I remembered her from. But back to the questionnaire, she says an interesting tidbit about her and her husband.
Honey, he wanted to suffer. He settled for the pillar only after we got arrested trying to crucify him. I got one nail in before those fuckers had me in cuffs.
Nora figures this is just a crack of shit along with the Book of Kevin, and she even gives shit to John when she's on top of the pillar about the Book of Kevin.
Hey John, I read your book.
You did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kevin left it in the bathroom and I picked it up, and before I knew it, 20 minutes had flown by. It's exciting.
Though a lot of the other townspeople firmly believe that something is going to go down on October 14th.
Yeah, she says there'll be another departure here on the 14th.
And I was thinking, when October 14th comes around, we know in this episode that it's 10 days away. Maybe that'll be the finale episode. It will take place on October 14th. That's probably a popular theory out there. I just thought of it myself. So maybe that will happen. And then we see Nora go by Matt's house to talk about Pillar Man and where his body is buried. But then she brings up that Mary has already left Miracle, and presumably she is still alive, and that she did not have to stay in Jarden in that bubble to be alive, like Matt thought. In this next section, we get answers left and right. First, about where Mary is. Next, how Nora broke her arm. She purposely slammed it in a car door. And I had goosebumps when she said that because I could not imagine doing that to myself, like breaking my arm.
Now, why in God's name would I do that?
We got an answer about Lily. Thankfully, she is not dead. Last week, I was hoping that she didn't die, and thankfully, she didn't. We learned that Christine came back and fought for custody of Lily, even though she ditched her infant child in a public bathroom. I mean, if you did that, I don't feel parents should have the right to claim their child back. Nora should have just told the government or the court system, whoever, that Christine was an unfit parent. I mean, without Lily, Nora is like devastated, and she already has that sadness from when she lost her family in the departure. Lily will forever be Nora's in my eyes, but the sad thing is Lily doesn't even know who Nora is.
Who are you?
On a lighter note, I love how Nora was so aggressive to get that toy back from the kid, that little sand toy, to give it back to Lily, because that kid took it.
Hey, I saw that. That's not yours. Thank you.
And we get to see where Erica has been all this time. We see that she's living by herself. Well, that's what I gathered. And Nora goes to visit her. And we find out in their conversation that Nora covered up a tattoo of her kids' names on her arm with a Wu-Tang band tattoo.
I think you mean the Wu-Tang Clan.
Right. Big fan.
And then Nora and Erica get some much needed stress relief when they go jump on a trampoline. And then that Wu-Tang Clan song is playing in the background. It was like a really sweet moment in the episode. Now the main crux of this episode and why we got all these answers is because Nora had to travel to St. Louis to go meet up with Mark Lynn-Baker. But before she leaves, they have that little moment of her packing, and then Kevin walks in and they have that back and forth. Their banter is so gold.
Mind if I borrow this? I need something to read on the plane.
Really?
You don't want me to take it?
No, Matt said there's only one copy.
We're on the same page about this, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And she did kiss the lips of Kevin. And lo, it was good.
At Mark Lynn-Baker's hotel room, we see him explain to Nora that machines have been made that zap people with neutron radiation, and when they're struck with that radiation, they travel to the place to where all those departed people, the 2%, now reside.
Where's Lauren now?
She went through.
Through?
Through.
Now here's my question to you. So if you want to leave a comment, that'd be cool. Do you buy any of this? Do you think Mark Lynn-Baker is telling the truth? I mean, he seems pretty convincing, but you never know on this show. And are all of these 119 test subjects just doing this experiment and dying because of the radiation? Or are they really going someplace? After Nora returns home, we see her walk in on Kevin as he's suffocating himself. And he explains that he's suffocating himself just to feel something. He does not want to die.
I tear it off every time. I just do it to feel.
And at this point, they're still together, even with Kevin suffocating himself and Nora's secrets. They can come together and still be committed to one another, even though they have their faults.
I'm happy too. Let's not fuck that up, okay?
And now both of them, Kevin and Nora, are headed off to Australia. And Kevin doesn't know what's up, but does Nora actually want to take the experiment and be struck by the radiation? Or does she just want to debunk Mark Lynn-Baker's and all these scientists' claims? And then comes the Australia ending, where in the Down Under, they have their own Kevin, who is also a policeman. And then the policeman is off duty, Kevin, fake Kevin, he goes off duty and comes across these women who are on horses who are looking for actually American Kevin. One of the women pulls out a dart gun and darts fake Kevin.
Jesus, Florence!
He wasn't coming.
And then they drown him, but they say they're friends and they know that Kevin can come back from death. So maybe Kevin is actually this holy messiah that Nora was joking about earlier, but people know that he can't die, so what is this all about? And finally, we get to see Garvey Sr. come out of his house and ask, hey, what are you ladies doing out there?
What are you ladies up to?
So are we to take away from this that these women drowning fake Kevin don't already know Kevin Sr.? Or are they working together? Because if they were, they would know that that is not the real Kevin that they're looking for. That's another question I would like to hear your opinions on. If you want to also leave that in the comments. And that ends another amazing episode of The Leftovers. There is some more random things in this episode I wanted to mention before we end the video. First off, Nora and technology. We see no electronics want to work for her in this episode. from the check-in little machine at the airport to the parking ticket machine.
I prepaid at the fucking machine! What do you want me to do?
And I didn't even know you can lift those barriers at the parking ticket machine. I didn't even know you can lift that. And then the whole Nora cursed thing. I mean, Jesus, this newspaper writes a headline that says Nora cursed right after she breaks her leg and her whole family disappears. I don't know why a newspaper would jab at someone like that. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this video. Thanks again so much for watching. If you noticed anything I left out of this recap, please leave it in the comments. Thanks again for subscribing. If you haven't done so, maybe do so one day or another. And I will see you some other time. Okay, bye.